This gentleman, his name is Pedro Salazar de Mendoza. He was a 17th century, obviously a church official, but he was also a historian and genealogist. He wrote plenty of genealogy trees for the ancient and noble families of Spain, including the Ponce de Leon family. And I'll be using his work as a template for the Casa Solar, which means the ancient original family of the Ponce de Leon family. Okay, so according to him, this is the origins of the Ponce de Leon family tree. Tison, he was a Count of Toulouse in France, which is called Toulouse in English. And then Aicedo, this is father, son, and so on. Beltran, the third Conde, Duke of Toulouse. Guillen, the fourth. Raymond, this Raymond is very notable because he was in the Crusades, right? He went to the Holy Land to go fight. He was Raymond of Toulouse. He was quite famous. He married a daughter of Alfonso of Spain. So his children were part of the Spanish nobility. Guillen Ponce, right? This is the first Ponce. Americo, the second Ponce. He married Cecilia of France. She's the daughter of the King of France. Then their son was called Ponce de Minerva, who married Estefania Ramirez. Then their child, Ponce de Minerva II, married Elvira Perez. Then their son, Don Fernand Perez Ponce de Minerva. He didn't know who she married. Then Pedro Ponce de Minerva, who married Alonso de Leon. Right, so this marriage, Ponce and Alonso de Leon, she was also the daughter of a Spanish king. This marriage created the compound surname Ponce de Leon. So their child is the first to carry that name, which would end up becoming a very noble name in Spain, synonymous with the reconquest of Spain and the discovery of America. Okay, then Fernand Perez Ponce de Leon, who married Urraca Gutierrez de Meneses. Their son, Fernand Perez Ponce de Leon, the first Señor de Marchena, married Isabel de Guzman. Their son, Pedro Ponce de Leon, married Beatriz de Lauria y Ejercita, or whatever. She is the great-granddaughter of Jaime of Aragon, the King of Aragon. Then we got Pedro Ponce de Leon, who married Sancha Ruiz de Baeza y Haro. Then Pedro Ponce de Leon, who married Maria de Ayala. And from here, this Pedro had a number of children, and a few of the branches come out, okay? So we're going to skip this because this is not the family that we're going to be talking about. We'll talk about them a little bit, but not for Juan Ponce de Leon. Okay, so this is basically the tree that I was just saying, right? This is Raymond of Toulouse. He was in the Crusades. His wife was Elvira de Leon, daughter of Alfonso VI de Leon. This is everything that I just said. I'm just reiterating it here. Ponce de Tripoli. This is Philip of France. This is everything that I already said. Right? Pedro Ponce. Oh, I'm sorry. This is the first to use Ponce de Leon. This is their escudo de armas, or the coat of arms. Pedro married Beatriz de Jerica, and she is the granddaughter of Roger de Lauria, he was a noble sea captain for in the Mediterranean, and of course Jaime of Aragon. Okay, right here, this is where the marriage of Pedro Ponce de Leon and Maria de Ayala. This is their children. Oh, no, sorry. Let me get it. All right. So one of his sons, Juan. This is the sons of Juan. Right? We'll get there. Okay, so this is the sons of Juan, which is one of his sons. So he had three marriages. He had two marriages and then another group of children with an unknown spouse. So this is his first group of children: Pedro, Rodrigo, and Manuel. Those are the sons. I'm going to go through the sons because we're looking for the father of Juan Ponce de Leon, who used the name. Right, so Pedro Ponce de Leon married Maria de Luna, right? And they had a son named Juan Ponce de Leon, but he went by the nickname El Bermejo, right? Remember this name because we will be mentioning him again. But this is not our Juan Ponce de Leon of Puerto Rico and Florida fame. Rodrigo, right? He was a very famous knight and Duke of Arcos, and he was part of the Reconquista. He was very famous, and his legacy is still in Spain. So, but he didn't have any sons. But he did have a daughter named Francesca who married her cousin Luis, and they continued the line. So it's Ponce de Leon marriage, intermarriage. Luis Ponce de Leon and Francesca Ponce de Leon. We'll get into that again, right? Then their son Manuel Ponce de Leon, who went by El Valiente, or the Brave, who did have some sons. Okay, the second group of children are Lope, Beltran, and they died in battle fighting against the Moors. And then Enrique, who married Catalina de Saavedra, and Eutropio, who married Maria de Trujillo, who had a son named Juan. This is not our Juan either, right? Lope had a son named Juan too. We'll get into that. And then the third group of children that Juan Ponce de Leon had, from different women who their names are lost to history: Alonso and Diego. Alonso was in the court of Enrique de Trastamara. And then we got Diego, who died along with his brothers fighting in the Reconquista and the Battle of Antequera. Right? Okay. So those are the sons of Juan. I have them all laid out here. Right? First, let's get into this. This is the Juan we're talking about. This is his brother Luis, who inherited the titles. Right? Luis and married Teresa de Figueroa and had a son named Pedro. Pedro married Lenore. Lenore had a son named Pedro, and Lenore had a son named Luis, who married Francesca, the daughter of Rodrigo. This is Rodrigo Ponce de Leon. And so they were, what? Second cousins. Okay. So, we know that our Juan Ponce de Leon was a cousin of Francesca Ponce de Leon, right? A cousin. How do we know this? She writes it. This is transcribed by David Cuesta Camacho, a Puerto Rican genealogist. And you see right here, Doña Francesca Ponce de Leon, woman of Luis Ponce de Leon, Señor de Villa Garcia y Rota. And I will mention that this family, this branch of the family, were also the señores of Salva León. Salva León. Remember that. And you see right here, she says, this is Francesca Ponce de Leon. My cousin, mi primo, Juan Ponce de Leon, Admiral of Bikini and La Florida. So this is our Juan Ponce de Leon, the one from Puerto Rico. So she says very clearly that he is her cousin, right? So we know that her father, her uncles, one of her uncles is the father of Juan Ponce de Leon. Okay. So let's go through her uncles and see if we find anyone that could be Juan Ponce de Leon. Manuel married Guiomar de Castro and had 2 children, none of them named Juan, right? We know Pedro had a son named Juan, but he went by El Bermejo, right? We'll get back to him shortly. Enrique had a son named Juan Ponce de Leon who died in 1505. No known children of Beltran. Eutropio had a son named Juan, but he married Maria de Escobar, right? And Lope had a son named Juan that everybody incorrectly sticks our Juan Ponce de Leon as a son of him. But you'll see right here that that is not correct. You see Lope Ponce de Leon, he had a son named Juan Ponce de Leon who died with him, who died in 1505. And he's buried next to his father. So we know that this is not our Juan Ponce de Leon, right? And we know right here, this is the description of the island of Puerto Rico by the grandson of Juan Ponce de Leon, Juan Trochi Ponce de Leon, and Antonio Santa Clara. They're writing about Puerto Rico in 1582. I'm just using this right now because it says where Ponce de Leon was from, so it'll get to my theory. Alright, so you see right here, it says right here, Juan Ponce de Leon, the discoverer and conqueror of Puerto Rico, was from San Gervas del Campo, right? And when he went to Santo Domingo, he built a house in the Puerto de Jagüey, and he named it Salva Leon, which, if you remember earlier, that the family of Luis Ponce de Leon were the señores of Salva Leon. So that gives them a connection, right? Since there's no record that says exactly who his parents are, we gotta use context clues, and that's one. Alright, so we know that he's from San Gervas del Campo. Now, this is a license to travel to the Indies, and you see it's Hernan Ponce, right? Hernan Ponce de Leon. And where's he from? So it's right here, San Gervas del Campo, the same place. He's about the same age, and it says his father, Diego Ponce de Leon, and Maria Lopez de Lomana, it looks like. Oh no, I'm sorry, de la Serna, right? So, my first theory is that our Juan Ponce de Leon is the son of Diego, which would make him a cousin of Francesca, based on the fact that he's from the same town and as this Hernan, and this is the only one. Also, when Juan Ponce de Leon dies in Florida, he dies from a poisoned arrow shot by an Indian. He dies with his nephew, right? Admiral Juan Ponce, the governor of Florida, fought against the Indians in war, right? And it says right here with su sobrino, his nephew, and his nephew is Hernan Ponce, right? So, my theory is that this Diego Ponce de Leon had at least 2 sons, right? Hernan and then Juan. And this is the Hernan that died with Juan Ponce de Leon. Okay. Let's get into this. This is the merits of Juan Gonzalez Ponce de Leon, who was a conqueror of Puerto Rico, and he also went on to help conquer Mexico with Hernan Cortez. This guy had a fascinating life. He was one of the few people who could speak the Indian language. He was a wanted man on Puerto Rico because he was pretending to be an Indian and he was basically a spy. Alright, so I'm not going to go through this because it's many pages. I'll try to go through the important parts that I underlined. Sorry for the delay. Okay, right here. Juan Gonzalez Ponce de Leon. He's in Puerto Rico for a long time. He came to Española first, then he came to San Juan de Boriquen, right? I like this record because they use the old names. They use Boriquen. You'll see some of the caciques of Puerto Rico being named Puerto Rico. In Nueva España, he went to New Spain or Mexico with Juan Ponce de Leon, right? Okay, so he was the son of Don Juan Ponce de Leon and Beatriz de Luna. Because some historians and authors say that this Juan Gonzalez Ponce de Leon is the son of Juan Ponce de Leon. That is not correct, and I'll show you here. So he came in the Armada to populate and conquer the island of Boriquen. They came to Santo Domingo. He was captain of the Armada of Juan Ponce de Leon. That he knows the other Juan Ponce de Leon. And he talks, Juan Gonzalez Ponce de Leon talks the language of the Indians. And Juan Ponce de Leon took him in because of that fact. He figured he could use his help. Captain General Juan Ponce de Leon, that when the Spanish first came, they arrived as amigos. They were friends, and they landed in the port of Aguada. The Indians took the Christians for friends. They said that they will defend them against the Caribs, who were different from the Taino. The Taino were more, I guess, friendly with the Spanish, and the Caribs were said to eat human flesh. And they came to Boriquen to capture and kill the Tainos. He talks about one of the caciques, Mabo el Grande, the greatest cacique, according to him, on Puerto Rico. See, they started to find gold. Okay, this talks about the ordeal that happened with Cristobal de Sotomayor, who was basically a Christian who was put in charge of a piece of land in the south of Puerto Rico near the Guayanilla area. And he was mistreating the Indians, and this cacique right here, Guaybana, was ready to revolt against the Christian rule. and kill as many Christians as they can. And Juan Gonzalez Ponce de Leon said that he knew about this before it happened, and he tried to warn Sotomayor about it, but they didn't listen. They ended up killing him and burning the town and killing a great number of Christians. And Gonzalez Ponce de Leon escaped to Caparra, which is closer to San Juan, to help to inform Juan Ponce de Leon of what happened. And during the process, Juan Gonzalez Ponce de Leon was injured. He was very, very badly injured. He was shot with arrows, but he was a tough guy. He survived. He talks about Captain Miguel de Toro, right? Very famous conqueror of Puerto Rico. See, they killed more than 40 Christians. The Indians, when I say they. Okay, he's talking about the time that he was pretending to be an Indian. He picked up the arms of, by arms I mean weapons, like he dropped his Castilian weapons and dressed like an Indian and picked up a bow and arrow and was in with the Indians, and they didn't even notice. But he got a lot of inside information from that. And there was a hit out on him. The Indians wanted Juan Gonzalez Ponce de Leon dead, especially this guy, Aguaybana. And this cacique also, he says he defeated the cacique called Humacao. He's talking about all the battles. Sorry, I'm trying to get through this fast. Okay, then he says right here, after the conquest of Puerto Rico, he ended up in Cuba, and he joined Narvaez, who was sent to New Spain to stop Hernan Cortez. But then Hernan Cortez defeated Narvaez and took his army and bribed them to fight for him, which Juan Gonzalez Ponce de Leon was one of them. And then he was even there to meet Moctezuma, the chief of the Aztec. So he had a very incredible life. There's only two conquerors that I could think of that participated in the conquest of Puerto Rico and Mexico, and that is this guy Juan Gonzalez Ponce de Leon and Juan Garito, who was the first black conqueror on Puerto Rico. He was African, and he was a free person of color, and he was a great and notable conqueror of Puerto Rico and Mexico. Okay, here we go. Finally, we said this is Juan Gonzalez Ponce de Leon, that he is the son of Juan Ponce de Leon el Bermejo. See? El Bermejo and Beatriz de Luna. So, this proves right here that he comes from this branch, and not, he's not a son of Juan Ponce de Leon. It's very clear. I know that took a long time, sorry. Also, let me offer a hypothesis of Lenore, the wife of Juan Ponce de Leon, right? Since these two were married, and he had the Salva Leon name that he used a lot, I think that she comes from that family. So I think that she is a sister of Luis Ponce de Leon, right? Who comes from the Salva Leon line, and that's why he named his property in Santo Domingo Salva Leon. Remember, everything with a red is just my theory, okay? This is my theory that he is the son of Diego, and that she is the daughter of Pedro and Leonor. Also, Pedro is the son of Luis, and Juan Ponce de Leon, his only son, was named Luis, right? His only son. So that's just a hypothesis. I'm just using some clues, okay? And this is them picking gold in Puerto Rico, and you see on the same record Juan Ponce de Leon, Hernan Ponce de Leon, and Leonor Ponce de Leon, and they were all family. This is his nephew, and this is his cousin. With that being said, let's get to his children. Alright, we already mentioned Luis Ponce de Leon. This Luis was, he ended up joining the church for some reason. He became a priest and had no wife, no children. So all the descendants of Juan Ponce de Leon go to his daughters, which he had 3. Leonor married Antonio de la Gama. Maria and Juana married brothers, Gaspar and Garci Trochi. Alright, let's start with this. Okay, so Perafan de Rivera, right, and he ends up in Guatemala, and he's the son of Perafan de Rivera and Bernardina Trochi, grandson of Perafan de Rivera, the first. Bisnieto means great-grandson of Don Juan Ponce de Leon, right, on the side of his mother. And it says right here, the said Juan Ponce de Leon, his great-grandfather, was one of the first discoverers of all the Indies, and he came with Christopher Columbus and his second the second voyage, the 1493 voyage of Christopher Columbus, where he discovered Puerto Rico. So, interesting enough. So it proves right here that Juan Ponce de Leon, the discoverer of Florida, was actually a shipmate of Christopher Columbus on his second voyage. And the other, Melchor Trochi, married Francesca de Orozco, the daughter of the conquerors of Puerto Rico, Diego Ramos, Francisco Juancho. That's a whole nother story. So let's go to Juana Ponce de Leon. She married Garci Trochi, who was in his own right a conqueror of Puerto Rico, as was he. And they had, 3 children? Sorry. So this Juan Trochi Ponce de Leon, he stopped using the Trochi. He used only Juan Ponce de Leon. He's actually the first governor of Puerto Rico to be born on Puerto Rico. The rest were born in Spain. And he was also the author of this aforementioned document up here. So Juan Ponce de Leon marries Isabel de Loaiza. His sister Leonor Trochi marries Alonso Perez Martel. And the other daughter, Maria, marries Diego Martinez. We'll get here later. Start on this side. Him and his wife have a number of children. Garcia Trochi, who is his son. He got permission to conquer the island of Trinidad, and he ends up bringing his son. And his son tragically dies, and he's killed by Indians. Most of these families have descendants, except him. He was a church official also. But like I said earlier, I'm not going to go through every single family. The Isabel de Avila, she's a descendant of a very famous conqueror, Diego Guillarte de Salazar. And they had children that continue even to this day. Now, this family right here is not often mentioned, This Juan Ponce de Leon marries Ana de Salamanca. They have a number of children. Fernando Ponce de Leon. Diego Ponce de Leon marries twice, right? And this is a theory that I have. You see it's in red. Because this Garcia de Carvajal Ponce, he used this exact name, Carvajal Ponce. And he married Catalina Ortiz de Sandoval. Right? I have records for their children, and some of them did in fact go to Puerto Rico, but a lot of them stayed in Santo Domingo. Now, Alonso de Carvajal, he's a church official right here. And you see right here, he's a lawyer in Santo Domingo. This is 1639. I'll go through this quick. Alonso de Carvajal is the legitimate son of Diego Ponce de Leon and Ana de Carvajal Campofrio, grandson of Juan Ponce de Leon. This is Trochi. And Ana de Salamanca, I'm sorry, this is the son of Trochi. And Ana de Salamanca, bisnieto, this is Trochi right here. Great-grandson of Juan Ponce de Leon and Doña Isabel de Loaiza. And it goes right here. They're noble people. Don Diego Ponce de Leon is the son of Juan Ponce de Leon and Doña Ana de Salamanca. Don Ponce de Leon, his grandfather, is the legitimate son of Juan Ponce de Leon and Isabel de Loaiza, who is the said Juan Ponce de Leon is the regidor of Puerto Rico. Okay, and then the said Juan Ponce de Leon is the grandson of Juan Ponce de Leon, the Admiral of Florida, Captain General of Puerto Rico. So, that just proves this line. But I should have put more about him. Maybe I'll save it for another video. Because this Garcia de Carvajal Ponce, he has a number of descendants also. And I believe based on, because this Alonso Carvajal Ponce used the Carvajal name instead of the Ponce name, which is his father's name. So, oh, this is a mistake. This should be here. Right, because they come from this line. Alright, let's get to this other line that a lot of people are more interested in, because they have many descendants, and I'm trying to clear this line up using my theory, and a lot of other genealogists have the same came to the same conclusions. Alright, so Maria Trochi marries Diego Martinez, also a conqueror of Puerto Rico. Catalina, their daughter, marries Juan Vargas Zapata, who had an extraordinary life of his own right. He was a conqueror of Peru. He was involved in the rebellion of Lope de Aguirre. He left in the island of Margarita and ended up in Puerto Rico, where he married Catalina Trochi. And they had a daughter named Constanza de Viveros, right? Where does this name come from? His mother was also called Viveros. At this time, people would pull names from any four of their grandparents and create a new name, or it was very not just as strict as we have it today, where you get your father's last name, and then in Puerto Rico you get your father and mother's. At this time, it was very random how they picked the names. Anyway, Catalina and Juan had a daughter named Constanza de Viveros, who married Garcia de Torres. Now, Garcia de Torres was a very famous Spanish sergeant and captain. I say Spanish because he was born in Spain. And he arrived in the New World, and he fought in Flanders and in Aragon, and he ended up in Santo Domingo. and eventually in Puerto Rico. And in Puerto Rico, he fought in the very famous battle against the Dutch in 1625, the 1625 Battle of San Juan, where he died in El Morro. He was shot in the chest by an arquebus shot, and it was very sad. The people spoke about his death well after he was gone. So he was very famous, but the Puerto Ricans or Spanish ended up winning the battle, so he didn't die in vain. So I need that to be understood, that 1625 is a very important event and a very important year, and you'll see why when we start using these context clues. Right, so Constanza de Viveros and Garcia de Torres had 6 children, right? And I'll show you. One, this is Garcia, right? This is in 1606. This is the son of Garcia. Garcia, son of Garcia de Torres, Sargento Mayor, and Doña Constanza de Viveros, his wife. Right? And this is in Santo Domingo. Right? The other, we'll go here. The other daughter, Constanza II Viveros, right, married Baltasar Lecero, and they had 2 children, including Garcia. And this is what Garcia writes. Okay, so Garcia Lecero y Torres from Puerto Rico. He talks about his ancestry. He's the legitimate son of Baltasar Lecero and Constanza Vivero y Torres. And he says his abuelo, his grandfather, is Garcia de Torres, who we just spoke about, who came from Spain, fought in Flanders, and you see right here 1625, which is the year that he died, right? That he died in battle. Sergeant Major, Puerto Rico, 1625, when the enemies came to the Plaza of Puerto Rico, and he died by un mosquetazo, a gunshot wound from a musket, right? And then we got Juan Vargas de Zapata, the conqueror of Peru, his bisabuelo, his great-grandfather, one of the first conquerors of Peru for more than 30 years, and he ended up in Puerto Rico. And then Garcia Trochi, his bisabuelo, which means his great-grandfather, was a conqueror and populator of Puerto Rico. And we already know that Garcia marries the daughter of Juan Ponce de Leon, the conqueror of Puerto Rico. Then he talks about Juan Trochi being his great uncle, and his great uncles right here, Alonso de Torres Vargas, and Diego de Torres Vargas, this guy right here, who was a church official, very prominent. Okay, so accounted for, we have 2 daughters and 3 sons of Garcia de Torres and his wife. And the other one is Catalina de Torres y Vargas, right? This is Diego de Torres Vargas and Alonso de Torres Vargas. I'll show you right here. This is very important because it says exactly the children of Garcia de Torres. So Captain Don Alonso de Torres Vargas, from Puerto Rico, soldier in the infantry, the Spanish infantry, and his brother Garcia de Torres, right? This one right here, the one we just talked about. He's talking about the merits of his father. You see that he fought in Italy and Flanders. Captain Sergeant Garcia de Torres came to Puerto Rico, Santo Domingo for 46 years, Spain, Flanders. So they just he fought in England and Aragon. All right, let's get to the important part. Domingo, defense and security of the islands with 25 men, and they ended up in Puerto Rico in the year 1625, right? Captain and Sergeant Major, and the enemies shot him with a musket in the chest where he died. This is very important. That's why I got this big red line here. Dejando, leaving behind, right? So in 1625, when he dies, he leaves behind. Very clearly, it says tres hijos, 3 sons, and tres hijas, 3 daughters. Right? 3 sons, 3 daughters. And the sons we all have accounted for: Garcia, Diego, the churchman, and Alonso. These 2 are military guys. And then we have the 2 daughters accounted for: Constanza, who we just spoke about, the wife of Baltasar Lecero; Catalina, who married Agustin Saldueño. The one that's up for debate is right here, Leonor Garcia de Vargas. Right? You see the red line? The reason why I think that this is correct, I'll get into it, right? First of all, we already know that there's a missing daughter. So, Leonor Garcia de Vargas marries Guillermo de Lugo de Figueroa, and they have 2 children at least. They actually have more children, but the 2 that I'm mentioning here is Andres de Figueroa and Clara de Figueroa. Clara marries Lázaro Ramirez de Arellano, and they have a son named Antonio. Antonio became a great hero, military hero in Puerto Rico during his time, and he writes his méritos, which means he's fighting for a pension because he was injured in battle, and he's writing about his family history and his own military exploits in order to get recognition from the crown, right? So he's captain of war of San Juan, Puerto Rico, of the island of San Juan, Puerto Rico, and this is Juan Colón de Torres. But he fought in a few battles, but the most prominent was in 1673 when he fought against French pirates. And so did he, Juan Colón de Torres. Alright. So the lieutenant of war, Antonio Ramirez de Arellano, is in San Germán, in the island of San Juan de Puerto Rico. He's the legitimate son of Lázaro Ramirez Arellano and Doña Clara de Figueroa. The paternal and maternal were people of noble and limpieza de sangre, which means they weren't descended from Jews, Moors, anybody who received penance or was against the Inquisition. So they were clean blood in quotes, okay? So right here, he says that his abuelos, his ancestors, were of the first conquerors of this island of Puerto Rico, and they're conquerors on many occasions, in victories and the advancement of victories for Your Majesty, and the returning the plaza of Puerto Rico against General Baldino Enriquez, who attacked Puerto Rico in 1625, right? We know about 1625 and the Armada. So it's down here. I'm sorry, I'm going kind of. Okay, so he says that that he knows Lázaro Ramirez de Arellano and his wife Clara de Figueroa, the parents of Antonio Ramirez de Arellano, and his maternal grandparents Captain Guillermo Lugo de Figueroa, and Leonor Garcia de Vargas, right? Okay. Now I'm gonna show you one last slide, and this is one way into my brain. This is how my brain looks when I think. I hope this makes sense. Okay. So, all the clues that we had, I'm gonna try to make sense out of this. Okay. So, this is the merits of Antonio Ramirez de Arellano, where he says that he is descended from the first conquerors of Puerto Rico. Who are the first conquerors of Puerto Rico? There's a few. The most notable is Juan Ponce de León and Garcia Trochi. See, it says right here, primeros conquistadores y pobladores, the populators of Puerto Rico. Then he says, in 1625, when General Baldino Enriquez came, my ancestors were there who fought against them. Who was the most notable person to fight against them? It was Garcia de Torres, right? Juan Vargas Zapata, right? The Vargas name, if you follow this line, could be how she got the Vargas, no, Garcia de Vargas. Where does the Garcia come from? Garcia de Torres, right? Now down here, this is the merits of Alonso de Torres Vargas. He says his father died in 1625, leaving 3 sons and 3 daughters. Son, 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 daughter, daughter, daughter. This is why I believe that the Antonio Ramirez de Arellano family are descendants of Juan Ponce de León. I hope this made sense. I know it was a little choppy and rushed at times, but work with me. Thank you for listening to the video. Thank you for your time as always. I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, pa'lante. Zoom out for you guys. The ancient and noble family of Juan Ponce de León. Thank you for watching. Pa'lante.